Hi there, I'm Jen Scow for American Crafts, and I'm so excited today to show you the new American Crafts sketch markers. These markers are alcohol-based, blendable, so easy to use, and they come in easy 3-packs for already color matched for blending, as well as packages from 12 to 80 different markers. There's a variety of colors and they're all vibrant and beautiful, and you're gonna find just what you need to make the projects that you love. One of the awesome things about sketch markers are that they are incredibly affordable compared to other alcohol blending markers out there. For example, a 3-pack is only $9.99 and an 80-pack is only $99.99. So as you can see, the sketch markers are just a fantastic value for the price. So I want to show you how you can take a simple stamped image from simple to fabulous. And this is by using the different blending markers to achieve this great blended shadowed effect to give your images a little bit more dimension and pop. So I want to show you different techniques that we're going to use to create this cute card here. And we're going to do a couple of easy blending techniques. These markers are great because they come with a chisel tip, which is great for covering large areas, as well as a bullet tip, which is good for filling in fine detailed areas. So I'm going to show you how we can use both of them today. To create the blended background, we're going to use these 3 sketch markers. They come in a package and that makes for really easy matching. And I like to use a scratch paper underneath my paper just because the alcohol markers are permanent, so they will bleed and blend on other surfaces, so we just need to be careful of that. So I'm going to use the chisel tip. The chisel tip, you can kind of tell the difference between the chisel and the pointed tip because the pointed tip has this little brown or gray bar around the lid. And so we're going to take the chisel tip and I'm just going to go back and forth to fill in the bottom third of this background. And the awesome thing about these markers is that because they're alcohol based, they blend really well, which means you're not going to get as much streaking as you would with a regular marker. So after you lay down your first color, you're going to take your second color, and I'm just going to start and blend right over the top of it. If you find that you're not getting the blend you want, you can always come back and go over it again. And you're just going to continue on with a third color until you create a background similar to this. So this is what we have for this background here. So that's one thing that you can do with your markers is create a blended background. The second thing I want to show you is how you can create these gorgeous flowers with lots of detail and dimension. And so we're going to grab this stamped image, and I'm using another set of these 3 markers. And they're great because this one has a little bit of a purpley and a pink effect, and these ones are really fun. So I'm going to take my paper back and put it behind it because I don't want it to bleed onto my work surface. And I'm going to start with my lightest color. There are a few different ways you can do this, and people have different techniques that they like to use, but this is what I like to do. We're going to start with our lightest color, and we're going to just kind of fill in some of the petals. I like to work a few petals at a time rather than doing the entire flower because it blends best when the ink is still a little bit wet. So then I'm going to take my middle tone color, and I'm going to start from the bottom, and I'm just kind of going to flick up. Then I'm going to take my darkest color, and I'm going to go back in again. And then I like to work my way back around. And come back with my lightest color and kind of go from the top and flick down. And these will take a few seconds to really show the blending. So if at first you don't see what's going on, just let it sit there and you'll get it. So you're going to continue around the entire flower, and that's how you can create something like this. I like to include the darkest areas where the shadows would be, where the flower comes into the center, or maybe where a leaf folds over. You can see on this orange flower a little bit more where some of the leaves are folding over. There's a little bit of a darker area, and you can play with that and get those shadowed effects. So the next thing I want to show you that these markers can do is take a simple die cut. This is just a punched butterfly, and you can dress it up to make it look so much more fabulous. So this simple butterfly became this. Let me show you how I did that. So again, using a scratch paper so I don't get my work surface dirty. I have these markers are from one of the larger sets, and I'm using a gray marker as my butterfly center with the bullet tip. So I'm just going to color in the center of the butterfly. Gray works great as a shader. And then I'm going to take some of these different colors. I have this kind of like a purpley color. And this is not going to look fabulous at first, but as we continue to add a little bit more color, we're going to get a great effect. So I'm just going in with a second color here and kind of going over the first color to blend that out. And I'm going to go in with this last color and just add just a little bit more dimension. Then what I like to do is go back to the darkest color. This is where the magic happens, I think. And we're going to just trace around the outside. And I'm going to bring that butterfly together. And this really helps it to pop. Very simple. Takes just a few minutes to make a simple die cut fabulous. And you can see on this butterfly, you can do all sorts of things. You can do some like little dots of color for some shading and make some really fabulous things. So that is another thing that is really easy with these markers, makes it really easy for you to dress up a simple die cut shape. Next, I want to show you how we created the background of this gorgeous card. So you can see that there are some lightly colored stripes in the background, and that was created using the Colorless Blender markers. So they come in a 3-pack, they're all the same, but you're going to find yourself wanting to use these a lot. So it's great that they come in a package of 3. But what they do is they take away color, or they help you blend lighter colors, create different highlights and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is create this striped background, and we're going to do that easily by using a ruler and just drawing on the background with the Colorless Blender. So I'm going to use both tips. I'm going to start with the chisel tip. And the great thing about the chisel tip is that you can use this nice broad area here, or you can flip it and use the thinner area like this. So I'm going to start with the thinner area, and I'm just going to take this and run it along my ruler 2 or 3 times. And it's like magic when it reveals. It takes a minute as it's drying to kind of pull up the color, and you can see how it creates that stripe there. So then I'm just going to take my ruler and put it down and create another stripe. And I did that all along the entire background. And then I went back and I went in the spaces and I used the bullet tip to create a finer line. So you could really get 3 different sizes of stripes here. And this would be fun to do in color to create some sort of plaid background as well. So that's how the background of this is created. So the Colorless Blender, although you can use it for blending and creating highlights, it's great for techniques like this, pulling the color from something that you've already laid color onto a background. The last thing I want to show you, do you see these gems? They're perfectly matched to the color of my card. Well, because these are alcohol-based markers, they're permanent. So that means that they can alter the color of your embellishments, which is awesome. I love using these markers for something like this. So you can take a simple sheet of these are little gems that are just clear, and you can take one of your markers. So I'm going to take the marker that I used for the darkest color on the background of my card, and I'm just going to take the tip. It doesn't matter which one you use really, but to color the smaller ones, I'm just going to use the bullet tip, and I'm just going to kind of dot and dab the color on. And you can see how quickly it changes. So if it feels like it's not dark enough, you can just wait for a second for it to dry and then just go back and add a little bit more color. And you're going to get those perfect colored gems to match your card. So it's really great, really simple, and another way that you can use these markers. I want to show you a few other examples of things that you might want to try with these markers. Let me show you this cute card that was created using the markers. I want to point out just a few different things on here. One is the Colorless Blender technique that we just used. It's a little bit tricky to see, but in real life you can see it very well. There's little tiny dots, polka dots on the backgrounds or on the backs of these little dinosaurs, where it's just created this fun little effect, polka dots on their little backs there. Also, just taking a really light gray marker and putting a shadow effect underneath this. This is craft cardstock. I added the shadow with a gray marker, and then I added a little bit of shadowing here at the top with a brown marker, and then used the Colorless Blender to blend it out. Super easy, super fun, and it's going to give a lot of character to your cards. Another thing that I love doing with these markers is adult coloring pages. We all love these coloring pages, and they're just going to be, you're going to take it up a notch with these markers. You can really get this beautiful blended effect. You're going to like relax, get in your Zen place, and just have fun blending these markers on your next coloring page. You're going to find so many uses for these in your craft room, and I can't wait to see what you create.